Here is Sam Harris on Lex Fridman's podcast, still illogically trying to explain his position on vaxes, and it just doesn't make any sense. Go.
Against skepticism of the safety and efficacy of the vaccine. So people who get nervous about the vaccine, but don't fall into the usual anti-vax camp, which I think there was a significant enough number.
Oh yeah.
They're getting nervous. I mean, the sense was that you weren't open enough to the skepticism.
I understand that people have that sense. I'll tell you how I thought about it and think about it. One, again, it was a moving target. So there was a point in the timeline where it was totally rational to expect that the vaccines were both working, but both they were reasonably safe, and that COVID was reasonably dangerous, and that the trade-off for basically everyone was it was rational to get vaccinated. Given the level of testing, it was just obviously reasonable to get vaccinated, especially because there was every reason to expect that while it wasn't a perfectly sterilizing vaccine, it was going to knock down transmission a lot, and that matters. And so it wasn't just a personal choice. You were actually being a good citizen when you decided to run whatever risk you were going to run to get vaccinated.
Man, there's so much there. First off, to say it was completely rational to think that there was a point on the timeline that it was completely rational to think they were safe. I mean, it was completely rational to think they weren't safe. They were being pushed on everybody for a virus that had over 99.9% chance of recovery from if you were relatively healthy, if you were very elderly or had several other comorbidities. Much like you wouldn't want to get the flu, you also didn't want to get COVID. But the idea that it was rational to think they were safe, like what happened to skepticism? I thought skeptics, I mean, Sam and the atheist community and that sort of section of the secular left, I thought their entire thing was about skepticism. You don't just accept answers. We're not like those stupid religious people who just accept that floating sky god. That would be their general position. We think about things. We question things. Why did I end up questioning the vaccine? Why did I not get vaccinated? And clearly that has turned out to be the correct position. And millions of other people took that same position and now are quite happy about it. There are tons, not only of people who are vaccine injured, we'll get to that in a second, but there are tons of people who now are vaxxed, who were forced to get vaxxed, who did not want to get vaxxed, but they were forced because of their job or having to travel internationally, whatever their choice was, that you eventually got pushed into a corner and you made your choice. But there are tons of people who are now trying to figure out ways to detox from the vax. We know that people who get booster after booster after booster still are getting COVID. I had Robert Malone on the show, basically the inventor of the mRNA vaccines, saying that he, at this point, thinks it's going to get way, way worse, that the vaccines are actually degrading your immune system. So there was no point in the timeline where it was totally rational to just believe the machine. But that would be my position generally when it comes to people like Sam. It's like, you can say you're an atheist, but you end up believing in something one way or another.